Welcome back, everybody, to a new episode of the Wisemen Say podcast, powered by Yama Media. Ty Fisher alongside Jerald Lucas. My friend, how are you today?
Blessed, thankful. Real quick, I do want to say thank everybody that checked on me while I was in the hospital. In the words of the famous Johnny Cash, ain't no grave gonna hold this body down, and it's certainly not no hospital. So thank you all. But I'm excited, man.
I think I woke up this morning to a breath of fresh air, knowing that MLS is back today with Miami and Salt Lake. Obviously, when this episode comes out, the game will already be played, but the feeling's still the same, knowing that the next day that MLS is officially back because it's going to be the weekend and not a weekday.
Yes. Christmas is here, man.
Speaking of Christmas, today we spoke with head coach Wilfred Nancy, forward Cucho Hernandez, midfielder Darlington Agby, obviously the three key people in the club that you would want to talk to and whatnot. So just what are some thoughts from your takeaway with today's media availability?
Well, besides Cucho's English is getting better, that he was able to put sentences together and it actually is clear. And, he said he's working on it. But the one thing that, besides, his English, what he said to the fans, I want to say this in English. Thank you, fans. Without you guys, we wouldn't have won anything. Which, 18 consecutive sellouts, I believe it was, of 20,000.
Yeah, I think it was 18 consecutive 19 total.
Yeah, so that 20 times that by 20,000. So 18 consecutive sellouts of 20,000. And, like he said, it gave extra energy when they were getting tired.
Yeah.
He did say that he can't hear what you guys are saying. So, when you're chanting, when you guys are chanting his name out there, he can't really understand what you're saying because he's focused. But hey, he said, keep it up.
I also think the biggest thing that came out of that today was, all three said that, they know how the other teams know how they play and whatnot. So adapting really isn't going to be a problem, but still wanting the opposition to adapt to them. Right. And especially with Atlanta United on Saturday coming to town, feels like we played them at least 10 times. Nazi said, I saw this schedule and I said, oh, like how many times did we play them last year? I know 3, it was 5 times total. 1 here, 1 there, and then the 3 playoff games.
Yeah.
Like, Jesus Christ.
It's good and bad to play the same team. You know what I'm saying? Like that, because you know each other's tendencies by now. But Nazi broke down how his preseason went, right? First leg was conditioning. Balls to the wall. Let's go run through a brick wall type of conditioning, right? Second leg of preseason was tactical and technical. He wanted to get the structure, as he said, the structures, the schemes, right? So even though teams might know what Nazi's going to do now, they still don't know what he's going to do.
It's like a guessing game.
Hell, we don't know what he's going to do half the time.
No, because it's always a surprise with us. It's always a surprise, Ask
him about the lineup on the Wednesday.
Yeah. Speaking of that, we know that Steven Moreira joined the team late during
Who?
What I said Steven Moreira.
Oh, okay.
What did I say?
No, I was gonna have a pun, but
Oh. God damn it, you made me mess up my thought. We know that Steven Moreira joined the team late during preseason. And whether or not he was going to be available for Saturday. Nancy did say he is available for Saturday, just doesn't know if he's going to start yet.
But that decision is going to come down to a coin flip.
So now the question asked is, if he doesn't start, who do you put in that spot?
I'll put Sean.
Okay.
Yeah, I put Sean, and then I have Mo right above him.
At the right wing back?
Yeah. I mean, it's been proven. You know what I'm saying? Sean can play damn near any position. He did what, right center back for the national team?
He bounced around between center back and center mid.
I mean, still, he can play any position. He's a Swiss Army knife.
Mm-hmm.
And him getting that contract extension, you got a little more money for your britches now. So let's go ahead and see what that money's getting us this year.
And in addition to Sean Zawadzki contract extension, Mo Farsi signed a contract extension this past week, announced today. What does that mean for him? What does that mean for the club? What does that mean for the organization as a whole?
It's big, right? Because we went into the offseason as champs, right? And then we didn't know what he was going to do. We see the Instagram, he's in Dubai, and it's like, there's rumors, for League One, wanting him. And, it's like, okay, well, I mean, they got all the capital over there in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
We'll give you this plus 5 houses and 4 cars. And unlimited supply of Rolexes. Come play for us. But surprise, and I'm not gonna say surprise. It was surprise that he didn't choose it. But now this contract extension shows that he's worth, a lot more than what people realize.
Yeah.
So we're thankful to get him till 2027.
With the club option of 28. Yep.
Yeah. So this season is going to be one for the ages for the Columbus Crew.
Looking ahead kind of to Saturday, I know one thing that I think I asked Nagby was just being back in front of the fans. You mentioned the fans before, but I think the biggest one is, these guys, they can't wait to play in front of, 20,000 plus people. That's going to be filling up lower.com on Saturday. We have the unveiling of the championship banner thing on Saturday at the South End. The team personnel is going to get their rings. There's going to be beanies given out again at the game for fans. I think just the build up to Saturday is just going to be an incredible feeling all week. I know for me, my last day of work for the week is tomorrow, and I'm going to be on cloud 9 when 3:30 hits.
Well, I'm off for a week per doctor's orders.
Mm-hmm. Wait, what doctor?
Dr. Pete Edwards. Yes, the man himself. You want one of the best doctors in the city? Go see Dr. Pete. But no, doctor, he gave me the week off, and it's so funny. He wants me to be off my feet, to help, with my leg, right? Turn around and say, hey, I'll see you Saturday then. He said, yep, I'll see you there. so you know I'm disregarding your order.
Right.
But you know what? This Saturday will probably be my first mimosas with Dr. Pete.
Are you going?
Yes. It's my first one. You know, first time ever doing it.
Yeah, same.
And you know how much how much, you know, as media, I like to interact with the fans.
Yeah.
Because
you're at every damn tailgate.
Yeah, I mean, but it gives a different perspective. Like when, you know, when I write, I give the world the eyes of a fan, right? Because, you know, I get to talk with, you know, the supporters. I get to talk with other fans.
You don't get to, you choose to. I'm joking with you.
I mean, you're right though. But
I do think that's one thing that you do take pride in, is that, you know, you want to be, you know, out there. I mean, I've been a fan growing up. I mean, obviously I love all my friends that are fans, but I kind of grew out of the tailgate era for me go. But I think for you, I think you kind of inherited that, you know, you want to live best of both worlds. You want to be able to enjoy the tailgate, you know, all your friends and whatnot. But then soon as what 5:30, whatever
5:25 hits and I'm at the gate at 5:30.
Yeah.
It's all business.
Yeah.
You know, so I mean, but it's just one of those where like you're taking the picture of what the fans see and you're putting it on paper, right? You're putting it in tweets.
Yeah.
You know, you're putting it on podcasts. You know, you're doing it. It's something unique than your regular journalist.
Make sure you guys turn into the Wisemen Say podcast on all platforms.
Shameless plug.
I had to there.
Hey, but I mean, it's one of those where that's what sets me apart from everybody else, right? It's because I could bring that creative mind of a fan and put it in with the media, and guess what? I'm at a 1,500 word article. Now, does people read my articles? I don't know if they do or not, but I put it out there to give you guys the entertainment. You know what I'm saying? You know what it, you know, seeing from my point of view in that press box, but bringing it to you in a fan format.
Yeah. Yep. There's good.
One more thing too, you know, like talking with Nazi, right? You know, last year he said he wants to provoke emotions, right? The city knows that this whole week, you know, for the first home game is Christmas, right? You got 20,000 people that are going to be packed into lower.com this weekend. And, you know, he just said it's what he's going to tell his players and staff. It is not going to change from what he told them last year.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's go out there. Yes, you want to provoke the emotions of the fans because they're here to entertain the fans. You know, but at the end of the day, you know, the only way you could do that is be good on the pitch.
In other news, breaking news out of Major League Soccer, and I absolutely pulled up the wrong thing.
Way to go, Fisher.
Jesus Christ. I meant to pull up MLS communications and not the actual league thing. Breaking news out of actually a couple things that have happened over the last couple days. First off, Pro and PSRA officially on strike. The collective bargaining agreement that was tentative a couple weeks ago got agreed to, and then you put me solo. Got agreed to, and then obviously 95.8% of the PSRA members voted no, as first reported by Tom Bogert and Pablo Moore of The Athletic. So Pro is officially on strike. We will have replacement refs starting for the Inter Miami and RSL match tonight. And a statement from Major League Soccer earlier this week, representatives of the Professional Referee Organization and Professional Soccer Referees Association reached a landmark collective bargaining agreement that included the largest compensation increase in pro referee CBA history, representing a 25% overall increase over 2023 when comparing salaries, game fees, benefits, plus the addition of business class travel for certain matches. The agreement would have made pro members among the highest paid soccer match officials in the world. Despite having an agreement with PSRA's elected leadership, this morning PSRA's membership, which consists of match officials, voted down the collective bargaining agreement. Pro has informed MLS that it is locking out the match officials as of 12:01 on February 18th. This was posted by MLS Communications on the 17th. Now a statement from Major League Soccer Executive Vice President of Sporting Product and Competition, Nelson Rodriguez. I'm talking a lot here. Said it's extremely disappointing that the officials have voted against a tentative agreement on a new collective bargaining agreement reached by the Professional Soccer Referees Association and the Professional Referee Organization, Rodriguez said. Pro worked for months and addressed all of the issues that were raised by PSRA's bargaining unit. It is also unfortunate that the PSRA rejected Pro's offer for a mutual no strike, no lockout commitment, which would have allowed all match officials to continue working during ongoing negotiations. Pro has informed us of its contingency plan for the upcoming MLS season, which includes utilizing experienced professional match referees supported by veteran VAR officials. We are confident in the comprehensive plan that they have put in place. On the flip side, Pro General Manager Mark Geiger issued a statement through the Professional Referee Organization saying, we made meaningful progress during recent bargaining, agreeing to fair pay increases and addressing many of the PSRA's concerns with respect to non-economic items. This represented approximately a 25% overall increase over 2023 when comparing salary, retainers, game fees, and benefits, plus the addition of business class travel for the MLS Cup playoffs. The result of the membership vote is disappointing. He also goes on to say, time has been of the essence to conclude a fair deal and move forward together with renewed positivity ahead of our 12th year of supporting the growth of the professional game in the United States and Canada. The PSRA has rejected a no strike, no lockout proposal from Pro through the 2024 MLS Cup, which, along with their public strike authorization, has created a significant risk as the 2024 season begins. I know we have talked about it before. We've seen replacement refs in multiple leagues. The first instance that comes to me, and I just saw this pop up the other day, was the NFL. I think it was 3 years ago, maybe longer than that.
Yeah.
Seattle, Green Bay. Last play of the game. One referee calls it a touchdown. One referee calls it an interception. Those were replacement refs, right? Knowing that replacement referees are now greenlit, for the 2024 season, what does that do to the league's reputation?
I think it tarnishes it a little bit, but I also think this gives a chance for both sides, besides the non-business issues, to be able to work out something as far as the technical, issues, right? Which a lot of it does have to come down to the pay, not being paid fairly, or the transportation, housing, whatever the case may be, right?
Yeah.
But then the other aspect is, MLS wants to hold, some of the refs accountable, but you can't really do that unless it's agreed upon, with the union. So there, it all depends on how the wording goes on the proposal.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't get to see what those proposals set, the language of it. We just get to see statements, right? We're not in those rooms. So it's kind of hard to say, oh, well, it's Don Garber's fault or it's the head of pro, right? What's the language saying? What's it saying in those proposals that are not sitting right with the union? So until we'll probably never know the language of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, you got to support the union though. Sometime, even though the like the legend himself, Chris Dorn, said today, you have to remember that refs are human too. Yeah, they might make some shitty calls. They might make some mistakes on, and some calls and all that. But, he said you got people out there that sit there and say that they support unions, right? But then turn around and say, call the refs that they suck because they made a bad call. Like, how can you know what I'm saying? How can you
double standard?
Yeah, how can you sit there and do that? Say that you fight for unions. And, when this is all going on, well, that's good because, pro refs suck anyways.
Mm-hmm.
What the hell are you fighting for a union for? Why do you fight for unions if you're not going to support them, 110%? You can't half-ass shit anymore.
Another breaking news out of MLS. Kai Wagner eligible to play for the 2024 season. Statement from MLS. Following Kai Wagner's completion of MLS's restorative practices program and in keeping with the MLS-MLSPA joint anti-discrimination policy, Major League Soccer announced today that Wagner's previously announced 3-game suspension will no longer carry forward until the first match of the 2024 season. Wagner is therefore eligible to play when the 2024 season begins.
Didn't Matt Miazga have one more game to go?
I think he has like one or two, yeah.
That's not going to sit right with him.
It's already not sitting right with Cincinnati supporters.
You
good?
God bless America.
Don't die over there. Don't die on me.
No, I mean, what's going to sit right with them anyways? To some point, he does have a point about the shield and all that. Like, yeah, but you didn't win the whole league.
Mm-hmm.
You won the conference to be the number one, the number one seed.
You won the regular season.
But you didn't have that stamina to make it to the finals.
Mm-hmm.
Zach, out there that in there.
Was that?
They didn't have the stamina to make it to the finals.
Oh, this guy. To be fair, they didn't. So I mean, they didn't.
But I'm happy for him. He completed everything that he needed to. Just like Dante Vanzier. And he made a statement too. He said last year was a season for learning, and he's like, I learned a lot.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I'm ready to go out there and finally play. So much power to the ones that admit it, own up to it, take responsibility for it, and do what's necessary to get back to showing people like, look, I made one mistake.
Mm-hmm.
I made a mistake. Here's how I'm gonna, build that bridge again. So much, Much respect for him, and the fact that they re-signed him. You know, so they're still not going to beat us, though.
I mean, they absolutely rocked us last year opening night.
Yeah, but to be fair, though, look at our lineup.
We were young as hell and whatnot. So
we had only been with Nazi for what?
A couple
month
months
and a half.
Yeah.
Before we played Philly. I mean, come on, that's not long enough to put, to learn Nazi system.
Right. Last piece of news coming out of MLS, actually announced today. Actually, let me go back up to read the actual headline. MLS postpones select new competition initiatives. These initiatives were the time substitutions rule, the off-field treatment rule, and in-stadium VAR announcements. I would have loved the VAR announcements personally to stay, but everything else can kind of go away. The first two, because you attended a lot of MLS Next Pro games. As for the statement from MLS, in light of the ongoing labor negotiations between the Professional Referee Organization and the Professional Soccer Referees Association, Major League Soccer announced that it will postpone the implementation of the following rules and procedures: time substitutions rule, off-field treatment rule, in-stadium VAR announcements. MLS will implement the new return to play equity protocol, and stadium clocks will run until the completion of each half, including any additional time at the end of either half. Then it goes on to say, actually, match official assignments will be shared on match day at 9 a.m. Eastern time for games that kick off prior to 7:30, and at 12 p.m. Eastern time for matches that kick off at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time or later. Match official assignments will be posted on MLSsoccer.com/media resources under the stats and game day tab. Pro will also be posting match day official assignments the day of matches, instead of like how they were like during the week leading up to it.
Yeah.
So there's that.
If I'm pro, I'd tell, right now till everything is situated, I wouldn't be doing anything until the strike is actually lifted. I would not be sharing anything from MLS on my page. If I was pro, I mean, that just shows that there's something there that pro did like in the proposal, that they're going to still, give coverage for MLS on their website, on their Twitter accounts. Right? Like, if you want to go on strike, go on strike. You don't deal with anything, with MLS at all until that strike is lifted. I did in that release too, as far as media go, pool reporters.
Yeah, the pool reporter process remains available to media seeking clarification on officiating decisions. Only questions pertaining to the match and officiating decisions will be answered. No questions regarding the ongoing labor negotiations will be addressed.
I like how they got ahead of that.
Yeah.
Because tonight a pool reporter would have said something about the event.
Yeah. I mean, if they had the opportunity, but I don't think, you would think most people would have common sense.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
but you got media members that think 2 + 2 is 8. So other than that, that's some breaking news there. But speaking of our little brothers, their core is gone. Which, you could see it was going when Brenner left.
Brenner didn't do jack shit. No, in my opinion.
No, but he was still a core piece, though, right?
Of the wooden spoon winning squad, yes.
But it was something that they were going to try to build around, right?
Yeah.
He leaves. So then it's like, okay, la-di-da-di-di. Vasquez comes along. Now he's gone. Teams are flirting around like, hey, Lucho, why don't you come play with us over here? He stayed, got a nice little contract. He's getting help with, becoming, a naturalized citizen so he could be on the national team. I respect his game, right? But his arrogance, I could deal without it. And then, so Vasquez leaves. Barriel wanted out last year. Team said, all right, well, we'll look at, trade or loan options. Nothing shook, during this window. Now he's like, I'm out. I want out. Well, he got his wish. He's gone now.
It's a loan to, I can't remember. It's a Brazilian club, I think.
Yeah. But with a buyout for $4 million. I mean, now you're losing a big hole there on that side. Yes, you brought in Miles Robinson. Yes, you got some, some other pieces. But let's all face it, though. Lucho and Barriel and Vasquez are the ones that, were carrying that team up until the 85th minute. After that, it was Lucho, or it was Brandon Vasquez started dropping off a little bit. It was Lucho and Barriel. And then when that game tying goal came up, you could tell it was pretty much Lucho was trying to check out. Like, he wanted out, but Pat Noonan didn't want to pull him out. Like, I get you want your stars in there at, in overtime, but when you see that they can't give it, 100% up and down the field, and they're sitting there doing hamstring stretches on the ground or bending over, you got to take them out. And that's what hurt. That's what hurt them. So, and then just on that game-winning goal, Barriel tried to stop it, but he couldn't get his leg up in time. It almost looked like he was at Taekwondo or something, the way he swung his leg around, and the rest is history.
Yeah. I mean, Vasquez left. I mean, just everybody you mentioned, is the core is falling apart. I mean, they got some pieces in, but do you think it's going to be do you think that the pieces that they brought in and everybody that left, you think it's going to be good enough for another Supporter Shield run or MLS Cup run?
They'll be in the playoffs, but not a Supporter Shield run. And the reason behind it is you bring in players. Yes, you got a couple months to start building, chemistry with the players. But it takes time, and you're coming from different leagues to learn a coach's system. We've seen that. Like, Cucho came in with Porter, right? It didn't take long for Cucho to start scoring, but he was getting frustrated with Porter's system. And they're Nazi. Both, I'm going to say it too. Lucas and Cucho both struggled a little bit learning Nazi system at first.
I think everybody did.
Well, everybody did, but when you're talking about the star power, right? The rock stars. Cucho and Lucas, struggled, the first 5 months, under Nazi system. And then when
I wouldn't go that long.
Well, because Cucho was
March,
hurt.
April, May, June, July. We got rid of Lucas in June. I'd say probably within the first 3 months.
Yeah, and Cucho, was hurt a little bit. He was out. But it's still that's 3 months right there. 3-4 months to start picking up on a coach's system. And if you're not doing well in your conference by the summer window, you're not going to be in the race for the supporter shield.
Yeah.
You're going to be a race for mid to play-in game in the playoff. Unless you get on a streak like Orlando did, late in the season, then you might get a little bit higher of a playoff spot, but you're not going to be in the running for a supporter shield.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
I don't see it.
Looking ahead, though, we do have a game Saturday. Season opener at home against the Five Stripes of Atlanta United. The last time that these two teams met, Columbus came away with a 4-2 victory in Game 3 of the first round of the 2023 MLS Cup playoffs, en route to their third MLS Cup in franchise history. What are you looking forward to out of this matchup on Saturday, and what is one key to the game?
I'm actually anxious to see some of their new players. I've been watching some of the highlights, that have been being posted by our good friends down south. I'm just anxious to see how they do against Columbus's defense. Is it going to be? Are they going to get frustrated because of the type of defense that we run? Or I should say, not run, but how the defense is played and tactically put, or what the case may be is. I look forward to whoever the guy that wore the pulled out the Spider-Man mask. He's not liked too well up here in Columbus. Because that first game, he should have been out of there in the first half.
Wrong person. I know who you're talking about, but it's not the person who you just mentioned.
Yeah, he's with Atlanta.
But it's not the same person.
Wasn't it Zonde Silva?
You're thinking of Muyamba, who should have been out. Yeah, it was Silva who did Spider-Man.
Okay,
but it's Muyamba who should have been missed at least the second game,
second and third.
If he misses the second one, I think we win. Honestly,
he should have had at least 2 red cards. But no, yeah, he's not going to be liked when he comes into town. And I think all 20,000 fans will let him know.
Oh yeah, for sure. Oh yeah.
Look to see how their defense is without Miles Robinson now. He really didn't do too much, last year for them. But I mean, he still was a factor, right? Got him and helped him get into the playoffs. Besides, Yakimakis and Almada, which who knows what Almada's going to do?
Wasn't he still on the verge of leaving?
Yeah.
Or isn't he still on the verge of leaving?
Yeah. So, I mean, we'll have to find out more about that later on. But man, they brought in some other pieces, which are actually pretty good, some pretty decent, pickups, right? So I'm anxious to see that. Anxious to see if Pineda can try to keep up with Nazi's chess game this time.
Yeah. I think for me, I think it's a new chapter of a story.
It's a new day.
It's a new day. Walking on sunshine. I think it's a new chapter, right? You turn the page on 2023 as soon as the new year hits. As soon as training camp begins, as soon as preseason begins, you can reminisce on the past and talk about, what you did last year, but everything looks different now. Right? Everything looks different. I also think that for Columbus, you have to pick up right where you left off at the end of the season.
Yep.
Right? Yeah, you ended on a high note with winning MLS Cup. But now, you had 2 months, I think it was, a month and a half, 2 months of break time. And then, Nazi said, the 2 legs preseason, the first one was, fitness, obviously. The second one was just getting back to the way to play soccer, right? So now what you want to do is you want to be able to kind of pick up right where you left off, go back to the way that you were playing soccer last year, and just have fun with it, right? Continue to provoke those emotions from yourself, from your teammates, for the fans, right? And get a good result. Last year's result is now water under the bridge, right? So there's a lot to compact, but I think the biggest key to the game for me is just making sure that they don't forget why they started. So that's just me, though. So,
what the building used to say, respect your roots.
Oh yeah, I can't believe they took that down. I can't believe that pissed me off.
I mean, but it served its purpose, though, man.
It did. It did. And somebody from Cleveland's calling me. Should I take this live? Should I take this on here? Why is somebody from Cleveland calling me?
Hello?
Hello? Guess who's calling?
Sure. Hi, Mr. Fisher. My name is Rose. I'm calling with Ohio Media School. How are you today?
May I ask the purpose of this call?
Sure, not a problem. We're calling today because we would like to ask you a few questions about your career path since you've graduated. There's about 10 questions or less for the survey.
I'm actually in the middle of recording a podcast right now. Can I do this another day?
Oh, okay, sure. Is there a good time that I can reach you again?
Any day, honestly, I guess.
Call me when I'm teaching sports ed.
We'll try back tomorrow then. Thank you for taking my call.
Thank you.
Don't they check employee records?
Anyway, yeah, it did serve its purpose. The building did serve its purpose. Yes, for sure.
Real quick, I know I didn't mention it earlier, but there is a new Cappy.
Oh, yeah. I just announced today, actually.
Yes. Where'd it go? Cole Johnson, keeper from Phoenix, Arizona. He played at Southern Methodist University, so SMU. Appeared in 52 matches, 49 starts, registering 4,551 minutes, 136 saves, 18 shutouts. In 2023, he was named the American Athletic Conference Goalkeeper of the Year. So he is now part of Crew 2.
Stas Lopkes backup.
I think Nico's backup because I think Stas is going to be up on the first team.
I don't agree with you, actually. I'm gonna say that. Then what was the point of getting him if they're not going to utilize him on the first team? What's the point of getting him? He's 20. What is he? 20? How old is he?
I think it's under 20.
Hagen?
Yeah.
No. There's no way. Nicholas Hagen is not under 20 years old. Roster. Nicholas Hagen. He's 27. You mean to tell me they're going to put a 27-year-old on Crew 2?
We never know.
I don't agree with you. There's no point. There's no point in signing a 27-year-old keeper just to put him down on the MLS Next Pro team.
I mean, you could have them both.
I think he's going to be the backup to Schulte.
Which, like I mean, it could be. You know what I'm saying? I'm just looking at the past, right? You had Rome, Brady Scott, and Evan Bush.
Okay.
Right? Then Crew 2 comes along. You got Schulte, Brady down at Crew 2, and you had Rome, Brady, and Bush up on the first team.
Brady was never named to a first team squad though. He only practiced with the keepers.
But he was on there on some of as the subs
for the Open Cup matches and stuff like that. Well, but not for MLS. Speaking of, USL did announce today that all 47 teams are participating in the US Open Cup. Your turn, MLS.
Oh.
I just don't see the point of signing a 27-year-old Guatemala national team member and just saying, "Hey, go down to our reserve team." I just don't see it that way. That's just me though. But stranger things have happened. It is MLS and whatnot. But I think Lapkus is still going to be the one for Crew 2. I think that guy is going to be the backup. Evan Bush is probably going to be the mentor for all three of them. 4 actually, including Schulte.
And the one that we also drafted.
If he decides to forego his college career. So, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to look like. I have paid zero attention to our draft picks. So,
except for Jaden.
I know he was in preseason.
Yeah.
You want to do yellow card, red card, or you want to do it with actually let's do yellow card, red card, and then we'll kick it over to our interview with Scarves and Spikes.
You go first.
And prediction. Actually, we'll do prediction with him.
Yep.
All right. So yellow card, that right there. That right there. That right there is the yellow card. Because first of all, I work for the company. That should be all you need to know. Golly. That's the yellow card. I don't like it because I'm in the middle of something, obviously, right now.
Do you got time to talk about your career?
But golly, people, do you work for the company? Like, you should know exactly what I do. That's my yellow card. I don't have a red card, actually.
My yellow card would have to be the driver today on Bethel Road. Bethel is a 40-mile-an-hour speed limit.
Really? I thought it was 45.
It's 40.
Okay.
Henderson is 45.
That's what I'm thinking of.
So this driver on the phone FaceTiming.
First of all, that's the worst.
Holding up traffic, right? On the right side, you have a dump truck, a semi-truck, and other cars that are doing the speed limit. So everybody else is getting around, and not, unable to get over. This car had at least 8 cars behind them. You know how fast they were going?
How fast? 20.
29 miles an hour.
Come on, people, do the speed limit. God damn.
Like, listen, I know your FaceTime might be important to you, but get the Fuck off the phone and drive.
Why are
Pay
you even on the
attention
phone
to
in the
the
first
phone.
place?
Yeah, that too. Lucky I don't remember the license plate. No, but I mean, which made me 10 minutes late for the doctor's appointment. That's my yellow card. I could, I could tolerate, the stupidity.
Well, yeah, because people are stupid.
Common sense ain't common no more.
You can't fix stupid.
Nope. I don't even have a red yet.
I don't either.
I don't even have no rants on a red yet.
Give it time. Give it time. We record next week. Oh,
I think,
yeah, we did.
I think my rant was a little bit earlier, but
it is. We record next week, so we'll see how that goes.
What do we got next week? Minnesota.
Oh
yeah,
Minnesota. Yep. Coming up here on the Wisemen Say podcast, powered by Yamo Media. I think it's Tommy.
Somebody from the Scarves and Stripes will be here.
Scarves and Spikes. Scarves and Spikes.
Scarves and Spikes.
A member of the Scarves and Spikes podcast and Atlanta United podcast will be joining us to discuss their viewpoint, their little preview on the weekend's matchup. This is the Wisemen Say podcast, powered by Yamo Media. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back, everybody, to the Wisemen Say podcast, powered by Yamo Media. Ty Fisher alongside Jerald Lucas. Special guests Tyler Pilgrim and Tommy. I actually have you on Xbox, Tommy. I don't know if you know that.
I thought we were friends on there, and I don't know how that happened, but
it was through like the FIFA group, whatnot, with I think Cody Byers, something like that.
Yeah,
I'm left out. I'm left out. What the heck, guys?
It went
Me
downhill. It went downhill quickly. It went downhill quick. Tyler and Tommy are Scarves and Spikes, along with Sydney. Sydney won't be able to join us tonight. But how's it going, guys? Been a long time since a couple months ago.
It's great. It's MLS's back week for those that celebrate. It's exciting times.
I can't believe it was 2 months ago. It feels like yesterday.
I know, right? It feels like yesterday. Yeah. You were telling us you shot a, what was it, alligator or something like that?
Tiger.
Tiger. That's what it was. Tiger.
He was going around saying an alligator.
I can't remember. I thought it was alligator, honestly. Tiger, that's right.
So that was not on my bingo card of things that would get brought up on this show. But I'm here for it.
Obviously, you guys have Scarves and Spikes and Atlanta United podcast. Just talk a little bit about that really quick.
Yeah, we started this a couple years ago. We do the Twitter Spaces after each game. That's kind of how we started, and then evolved into the podcast last year. And yeah, we've been growing ever since.
And it's been busy. It's been great. It's a blessing. The reason I've been running around like a chicken with my head cut off the past week is because our website's going, and one of the other really, really big Atlanta United websites that cover the team from the get-go before the first ball was ever kicked, we essentially had to go independent. And so all that traffic has now moved over to scarvesandspikes.com. And so trying to get it all settled before the season starts.
Was that Dirty South?
Yep, Dirty South.
Okay, yeah, part of the 95% of the SB Nation belongs that got cut.
We were the last ones left, and we just had to make the decision.
Fair enough. So obviously the last time that these two teams met, first round of the MLS Cup playoffs in 2023, en route to Columbus's third MLS Cup in franchise history. Columbus took the series 2-1. Hey, I have to. But obviously it was a very fun series. We went the distance in all three games. Just talk about kind of what went wrong for you guys.
All right, we said we were doing this for a half an hour. We're gonna be talking until Saturday.
They didn't have Darlington Nagbe anymore.
Oh boy,
it's a valid point.
I mean, you could use the excuse of game one that there was no Almada, right? Like that was obviously was important. Did I leave?
No, I have you solo.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Wow, this is off. I'm like, well, it's just me now. The game one, you didn't have Almada, but there were other things that happened. The team got frustrated very easily. They had a couple opportunities, but game one was obviously Mayumba and Aiden Morris. Like, that was the storyline, right? And Atlanta essentially had to take their best midfielder out without Almada there, and out of this, because he could have got another red, or he could have got another yellow to be out for game two. And game two at that point was like, that's where you need to go and win. And, obviously they take care of business in game two, but game three was just the same disaster that it was in game one. And you had Almada, right? One of the things I've been saying for a long time is that whenever you see a team win a championship, usually leagues are like, there's a copycat type thing that happens after a year. We've already copycatted you guys, right? You guys scored a ton of goals. We scored a ton of goals. You allowed a ton of goals last year. We allowed a ton of goals. Like, it's just very similar. It's just you guys were able to get it all together, especially defensively, in the playoffs, and now you're MLS Cup champions. And that's the goal for us this year, is to tighten things up defensively, especially on the road. We've been miserable on the road for a very long time, and
Totally.
Yeah. So again, copycat, right? Like, we're two very similar teams in a lot of ways, and it's just, can Atlanta bring it together this season? I mean, I'm sure that's your guys' goal this year, right? Allow less goals too.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the fun of this series last year, mostly for y'all, mostly for Columbus. But there were 23 goals. We were talking about this earlier. There were 23 goals between these two teams' matches last year, which is crazy. So
in all three, or just over the course of the five
over the course of all of with the
Okay.
postseason. Of course, like 6 of them came in that crappy early season match last year. I don't want to talk about that anymore. But yeah, Tommy's right. I mean, it was the defense. It was the spine of the team. And to the front office's credit, Atlanta went out and they got the guys that on paper can fix those issues. Now, still got to come together. The coaching still has to get it right. But on paper, this team is better than they were last year.
How confident are you guys in Pineda?
Here's the thing. I talk to Pineda a lot. I'm at the training ground almost every week, and he comes over and talks with us. So the ideas and the concepts that Pineda has, I'll be the first to say, I think they're there. And you're Wilfred Nancy. Columbus is Wilfred Nancy, and they actually play a very similar style. But it's just a matter of getting all the pieces right, getting everything set. Now, that being said, Gonzalo Pineda, I know the term hot seat has been thrown around. If he doesn't get it with this team, then he's not going to get it. It's just not going to happen, because this is the best starting 11 he's had by far, and the best depth he's had by far. And it's the guys that fit the system he wants to run. And so there's not much leeway, but I do think what he's trying to do is viable, and it works. Y'all did it. Again, similar style. It's just a matter of going out and executing.
I'm Pineda curious. I've been like that since for a long time. I just don't know how to feel about the guy, because offensively, this team has been stacked, but the salary cap issues that Atlanta has gone through over the past couple of years has really limited what he has. Like, you got a very good starting lineup overall, but any type of depth that you have is miserable. And, looking at Atlanta, you don't have Almada in game one. Josetu gets hurt in game two, so he can't play in game three. Like, it's just little things like that they never had the depth to really be able to handle any issues or handle the deep schedule of MLS, right? I mean, MLS, especially, with Leagues Cup added in, it's just a lot for teams. And now this is the first time that we could say in a very long time comfortably that we went into the offseason with money, and we're able to go get the guys that we needed to obviously stop goals. Is he going to be here at the end of the year? I'm leaning towards no. I think Garth Lagerwey is going to want to go hire his own guy. But the only way I think he does it is if he makes a deep run into the playoffs, which is probably, I mean, if you look at the history of these Game 3 series, usually the team that has home field for that were the ones that were moving on.
Yeah. Except for Cincinnati, but, it is what it is. I
mean, they
in
did
the best of three, I mean.
Oh, yeah, best of three.
They did say the East is stacked this year.
It is. It's a gauntlet.
Yeah. I mean, between Columbus, Atlanta, Orlando, Cincinnati,
New England.
New England. Yeah, I mean, I think last year the East was also pretty tight up at the top a little bit between who was it? I mean, that's not the East, the West. The West was kind of
Seattle,
Seattle,
LA,
St. Louis, LA,
St. Louis, yeah.
Houston.
Yeah, Houston. But now it's kind of flipped to the East where, the 4 teams, us, Atlanta, Cincinnati, Orlando, they're now where I think we're starting to see a balance a little bit in the East. So, but now 2024 is here. As Tommy mentioned, that's MLS is back for those who celebrate. What does Atlanta have to do to win against Columbus on Saturday? Jerald.
Self-inflicted mistakes. One of the things we've talked about for a long time, specifically with Atlanta United, it's usually individual mistakes that really get this team in trouble. And Miles Robinson, we talk about it, and a lot of Atlanta fans get really upset when I say this, but Miles Robinson hasn't been the same since his injury. And Atlanta wanted to sign Miles Robinson to a long-term contract. He did not want that. He took a shorter-term contract with Cincinnati. I think it's better for Atlanta United long-term to move on from Miles Robinson. And unfortunately, you've seen it, that sometimes injuries can cause long-term effects on careers. Joseph Martinez is obviously a huge example that we've gone through, right? Like, he just kept saying, Joseph's going to get back. Joseph's going to get back. Any day now, he's going to be scoring a hat trick. And it never happened. And I don't think the Miles leaving is really going to affect this team too much here. But individual mistakes, week 1, any team out there, it's going to happen. So I could see this game being a complete disaster for both teams, right? But for you guys, at least you kept pretty much the core of your team, right? So obviously that what helps you go into game 1. What I'm interested in, though, is what that 3-game series, what that did for these two teams as a rivalry. That's why I love this best of 3. We were just talking about this. I love the best of 3 because MLS lacks real rivalries. And when you're playing 3 games and, you're getting Ada Morris and Muyumba in game 1, then you've got Silva putting Spider-Man masks on, shooting webs all over, right? And then Cucho comes out in a Spider-Man mask, and it's like, oh, screw you, Cucho, screw you. Like, this is what's going to happen. And that's what I'm ready for, right? I want this game to be chippy. I want to take those 3 games, bleed it over into here, and I want a rumble. I want this game to be the best game of this weekend. And I honestly, because of that 3-game series, that's why I think this is the game of the week.
And the schedule gods knew what they were doing, right? Like they knew that this game is going to have goals in it because again, 23 in all competitions last year. But yeah, I mean, I think to answer your initial question, if Atlanta has a hope of winning this, it's going to be through that midfield, and you have, depending on who starts, potentially an entirely new back line. You have Stian Gregerson, who came over from France, from Bordeaux. He's from Norway. And then you have Derek Williams, who he's been with LA Galaxy. He's been with DC, grew up with Aston Villa, but he's had a solid preseason. So you've got a brand new defensive midfielder. And I think Atlanta has the talent, but you also kind of have to hope that maybe just all the changes can take Columbus by surprise a little bit. Columbus is a disciplined enough team to be able to handle whatever's thrown at them, for sure. We know that, but Atlanta also has a lot of brand new kind of unknowns for other teams, and you just have to hope that that's going to be enough.
Can Pineda keep up with Nazi's chess game?
You don't like Pineda, do you?
I will say yes, but that's a hard.
I was waiting for it.
That's a hard question.
I'm waiting for it.
I do think he can, because I've heard him talk about the game, and I've seen. Now, had you asked me this question last year, or God forbid in 2022, no. Wilfred Nancy.
You were pretty confident in the playoffs, Tyler. You were pretty confident going into a 3-game series.
I mean, yeah, obviously, Atlanta would have been fine had they not freaking played Columbus in the first games of the series. Like, that was crap. There's the one team we didn't want to play. No, but I still think he's got it. I do think he has the acumen to be able to handle the changes now compared to what he was a year ago or 2 years ago. I just think he's got that experience being a head coach now, and Wilfred Nancy already had it. Pineda has kind of grown into it, and this is a chance to prove himself.
I think the one thing that really is going to get me is, how I asked, we had press media availability today with Nazi, Nagby, and Cucho, and I asked all three of them, like, how is it going to be? The biggest question is, adapting, because every team in the East and some in the West, probably every team knows how Columbus plays now. Is how is Columbus going to be able to adapt on the fly, knowing that a team like Atlanta knows how we play? I mean, we played almost 10 times last year, 3 and whatnot. And Nancy goes,
I thought it was 30. It felt like 30. It's because those bad games felt like 3 days of how bad they were.
And
7-1.
And Nancy goes, when I first saw the schedule, I was like, ugh. When he saw the first game, it was like, it felt like we played this team 10 times. But the biggest thing was, like, they want the opposition to adapt to them, right? So now on the flip side, knowing how Columbus plays, what do you think Pineda is going to do to have them adapt to how Columbus plays, knowing that we like to keep the ball, we like to go through our center backs in midfield and back to our keeper, and then kind of penetrate the lines when we draw you guys out of space?
So I'll jump on this one real quick. I think Atlanta is going to Atlanta always makes a big focus, the wingers, because that's been their strengths over the past couple of seasons. They have a much better midfield now. Obviously, Thiago Almada is going to do his thing. He's all over the place. But you have at least a reliable midfield now that can hold the ball, similar to what you've got in Nagby in Columbus and Aiden. So I think that's going to be a chess match in and of itself. But I think the matchups that I'm looking for would be our new defensive mid, Bartosz Slish. I think seeing him try to connect with either of the wingers or wing backs moving high up the pitch, and then them trying to play through and play across to Giakoumakis, making that that run into the box. Because they're not going to want to go toe-to-toe through the midfield if they don't have to, because as good as Atlanta's midfield is, I think on paper, it's still unknown. You know what you've got with Darlington Nagby, and I think they're still going to try to play to the strengths that they know and have the hope in their back pocket that the midfield comes through and just has a good game.
Speaking of Giakoumakis, saw it last year with some of your guys' games during the regular season and then also in the postseason. When he gets frustrated, how much does that affect the rest of the chemistry with the team?
A lot. We've talked about, there was a couple games, and Cincinnati was one of them at home. That team we should have been beating Cincinnati like 3 to 4 to 1 at that point. He just couldn't get things going. The defense was frustrating him. And what did he start doing? He started fouling left and right, getting upset. He was showing the anger. He was doing too much. Very similar to what he did in game 1 against Columbus, because in Columbus, you don't have Almada. So he really tried to, put the team on his back there, and he was doing too much, and it doesn't work. When he has to go and, come back and play defense or come back into the midfield and help too much, he's not able to do his thing. And that's when things go downhill for him. So, yeah, 100%, you're right there. Like, he can't get frustrated in these games. And, a lot of those, quite a few of those games were when they were without Almada. And who knows if Almada plays this week? We don't know that. Like, that's not a full a guarantee that he at least starts this game, because he just came back from the Olympic qualifiers. So is he fully ready? Now, I personally think he will be. But he hasn't had a lot of time to practice with the team. But good thing for him, mostly everything in front of him is the same. Just behind him is what's different.
Is it possible it's a come off the bench opportunity for him?
Possible, yeah. Nick Firmino would be starting, and he's been starting in a spot the entire preseason.
Okay.
He's done okay. 2 goals, Tyler?
Three. Yeah. And he had a killer. He was a Golden Boot winner in MLS Next Pro last year. So, but a 10 is not
Be
his natural
afraid.
position either.
Be
We got-
afraid.
Hey, we got the original Golden Boot winner Next Pro on our team.
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
That scored against y'all last year.
Yep.
But who's
So
counting,
look,
right?
Yeah, he did.
I know, right? What are y'all bringing up numbers for?
Hey, that's
Oh, they were ready for us. They've been planning this since November, 5th, the 6th, whatever it was. They took notes.
The 12th actually was game 3 because it was the day before my birthday.
There you go.
I remember that like it was yesterday, just like MLS Cup.
So with
go
you
ahead,
guys
Gerald.
being able to experience lower.com at for the MLS Cup, right? And we all know how loud Mercedes-Benz get and how the team feeds off the energy. With your new players on Atlanta's team, how much is lower.com going to play a factor in how they perform?
I think it's huge because, you can have a fan base in this league that has a decent stadium that just doesn't show out, right? Like they just don't bring the atmosphere and the vibes. Columbus doesn't have that problem. Atlanta doesn't have that problem. So I think the conversations from some of the players that were here last year going into this, they're going to be ready, like, be prepared for a hostile environment because that's what it's going to be. And actually we talked to Stian Gregerson yesterday and asked him specifically about playing in the Bins in a couple of weeks at the home opener here. And then he was asked about lower.com field in Columbus. And he said, he went back and watched the playoff games and watched, the matches that Atlanta and Columbus had last year. And he was told to be ready for it, to be prepared. And so, yeah, I think it's a huge factor. Playing and winning away in MLS is already like, a unicorn at times. And lower.com is not going to make it easy. And I got to give props because that was my first time there. And I love the environment. I thought it was amazing. That's the only nice thing I'm going to say, though.
That's crazy. That's
Mental.
crazy. So now that we gave our little preview on our show before we ended the segment with you guys gave us a little insight on what Atlanta needs to do. Let's go to some predictions. We'll start with you guys first, Tommy or Tyler, whichever one's starting. Then we'll end with us.
I made a bet on this because gambling's legal here in Ohio.
It's okay.
I always try to get.
I made one also.
I always try to guess the score. It's a fun thing that we do, and I think I got it like 3 times last year, 2 or 3.
Oh, nice.
I put the game as 4-2 Columbus.
Again?
I do. I think there's going to be a lot of goals, and if as we were talking, like the games were coming back to me, there were a lot of opportunities where Atlanta missed.
Benedict Arnold, what are you doing?
Gregor, hey, you know what? No. It's not an Ohio thing, but my goal this year is to try to be as realistic as possible with my predictions. And I see, look at the NFL, you look at the NBA, the NHL, when you see a team that goes out there, and I know they're not getting their rings or anything like that, but when you're celebrating a championship game at home, 9 times out of 10, that team ends up winning. I think for Atlanta, they're going to need to fix themselves defensively here, like we've said. And I think it's going to take some time. Now, luckily, Atlanta's got a bye week next week, so they don't have any games, so they can get ready for New England. I think for Atlanta's purposes, I think them possibly getting schooled in Columbus is going to make them better moving forward. Because they're gonna, I just don't think they're gonna be able to turn this new defensive unit into something that works this quick.
I only give a little bit of credence to what Tommy's saying because in 2018, the opener, it was 5-0 in Houston, and then they won the cup. So whatever, if that's what has to happen for us to win the cup this year, I'll take it. I'm gonna say 2-2. I think it'll be 2-2.
2-2 draw.
Yep, right. I think asking for a win for Atlanta up there this early in the season, like Tommy is saying, they haven't had the chemistry yet. I mean, they've had preseason games and they've looked good, but you never know what you're going to get come day one. So I think 2-2 is pushing it. A draw is pushing it. I would love to come out of there with a point at minimum. So,
Jerald?
Man,
So
your little like it's intimidating because I don't know what's gonna come out. Like you're just gonna tell us that like you took over the world while you were podcasting, while we were talking. Like you run the world at this point. Like I'm not like your master plan that you're creating here, and then you just go like, oh shit, what's he gonna say?
So we are getting our rings. We are getting our rings on Saturday.
Oh, great.
that's nice.
Yeah, that is
on
true.
top of the banner.
Damn it.
Yeah.
So I like being bold and crazy.
Trust me, it's going to be outrageous. Probably what his score prediction is.
5-2 with a brace from Cucho.
We're doing algebra now. Okay.
One by Diego, and Darlington gets one too. And I don't care who gets the other one.
I don't care.
Are there any Spider-Man masks involved in this game?
Yes.
There probably will be a Charlie Brown wearing a Spider-Man mask.
100%.
You know, when I saw like people were already creating like memes saying you just lost to Charlie Brown, I'm like, oh man, we're gonna be the first ones to have to deal with this damn meme.
I apologize if our Twitter account tags you in that meme. So
we got to hold up the middle finger now.
that's crazy. I'm probably gonna go a little bit more realistic here. I'm probably gonna say 2-1 Columbus. I
boring.
I mean,
he's a
thanks.
simple guy.
I just think, given that the pieces that you guys have coming in, you guys still have Almada, even though I think he was on the verge of leaving at some point in time or when the offseason was happening, something like that. With the new pieces you guys have and us returning our core, I think it's going to be more of a hard defensive battle with a couple of mishaps that lead to the goals, right? The one thing that we don't do well is kill off games. And that is, I think, probably going to be where you guys get your goal between 75 and 90. Because we can't kill off games to save our lives. So I think that's where
that late gene last year.
Yeah. I think that's where you guys get your goal, but I don't think it's enough to get a point or 3 points out of Columbus. But I think the small mishaps that happen are what's going to lead to the goals. So
I do think y'all end with 10 men.
This guy wants Muyamba to get a red card so bad.
Dude, out of all the Atlanta players that I thought would not be an issue with the Atlanta Columbus like rivalry or whatever, Muyamba. Like, how did this gentle guy become so irritated with y'all last year?
Aiden Morris is annoying.
Y'all start picking on Aiden Morris, damn it.
That's also true.
I know it was a windy day in Columbus that night, so I know the wind kept blowing him over every chance. Aiden, every time. Oh, Aiden's on the ground. Oh, that's a shocker. Oh, Aiden, and then you got the fans send him off. You know what? No, you know what? Atlanta wins 8-1. Jerald, I'm gonna call you at 2 a.m. Go. It's over. It's over. I'm done.
Ain't you gonna be there?
Muyamba hat trick, and Aiden Morris. Every one of those goals is just going to be on the ground looking at him, going, "What happened? What happened?" And he's going to transfer to Europe that day. Muyamba's getting him out of the league. I'm done. This is over. It's done.
And he gets him.
Yes.
He gets him and walks away.
Anybody else need a cigarette?
He just falls. And then the fans are like, oh, poor Aiden. No. We're done. We're done.
To wrap up the what is happening right now?
Hey, so I just got one more thing real quick. You guys scrimmaged Montreal.
Yep.
What was the first take on Laurent?
The first take on what?
On Laurent coaching Montreal.
Oh, it's so hard to take anything out of it, but I mean, you could see that there were ideas in place. You could see that there were things that they wanted to do, but I mean, they literally that day was Joseph Martinez's first day with the team. And there was just, you had trialists, you had people that nobody even knew existed, but you can tell that he had a plan for them, but they just hadn't had enough time to get it together and execute it. I actually think they'll be halfway decent this year, though.
I just wanted to find out because with him being the former Crew 2 coach and then also coaching under, having Nancy as a mentor.
Yeah.
If I don't know if you guys watched any of the UPSL, but they turned around on the broadcast during the national finals. And they said, they were talking about Columbus's academy, that all three teams you could tell run the same system from Coach Nancy all the way down.
Yeah.
That you can easily plug and play. And one of those with Crew 2 was, Laurent being the coach there. So that's why I wanted to see if you could sort of see a little bit of Nancy's system there, even though it's preseason, like you said, but if you could still see it there in Montreal.
The identity was definitely there. And I think one takeaway for me again was like, you could see what they were trying to do, but the discipline wasn't there yet from the players to stick to it, even when things weren't going their way. It kind of devolved into, we're getting frustrated. This isn't working. So we're just going to start pinging balls over the top and hoping somebody can get to them, and it definitely put Atlanta on their toes a little bit. But by that point, we had totally different 11s that were on the field and what started and that whole kind of preseason thing. But I think he'll do fine up there. I really do.
Last thing before you end off the show, Tyler, you've done it before. Tommy, this is yellow card, red card. So long story short, what it is a yellow card. This does not have to be soccer related, first of all. Okay. So it can be anything. Yellow.
We talked about this before. I thought like yellow card, red card was like if you get a red card, you have to take a piece of clothing off. Whatever. I thought this was like high school after parties.
No. So a yellow card is something that you tolerate, but you don't like. Again, does not have to be soccer related. A red card. That's crazy. A red card is something you absolutely hate. You can't stand it.
Red Bulls. Carry on.
Aiden Morris.
That deserves a blue card.
Smurfs.
So what? NYCFC? Okay, cool. So what is your yellow card or red card?
Red card, peanut butter.
Okay.
That's crazy.
Just in general, just don't like
I have a fear of peanut butter. Like I can't. Real quick, go back to kindergarten. This girl handed me an M&M. Here we go. In kindergarten, this girl gave me an M&M. I thought it was a plain M&M. I took a bite out of it. It had peanuts in it. I did not like it. I ran away. And since then, I've had this peanut butter phobia. I can't touch peanut butter. I can't eat peanut butter. Like when people send me those gifts of like people like bathing in peanut butter, like it haunts me in my dreams. It's like Freddy Krueger to me.
Who sent you that?
Everybody. Because the people know my fears. And if I go to parties and like people like are up late and they know to screw with me and they're drunk, they just go grab like a fork and just put a bunch of peanut butter on it. And man, if you ever want to see me run fast, just bring some peanut butter because I'm gone.
Giving away all your secrets.
I know. I don't know why I tell people my weaknesses. Like Superman didn't like tell people like, oh, there's kryptonite. No. Peanut butter. Keep it away from me. Red card, double red card. Suspension. Right. Kai Wagner got out of his suspension early, but no, you're gonna be suspended forever if you go and give me a red card.
All right. What about yellow card? Is it Columbus Crew?
Probably.
Yeah, I think so. We could say that because I'm in Ohio and I'm here, and I've gone to some games that were not Atlanta United, and it's a good time. It's a good atmosphere. I love their new stadium. I hated their old one. People. I don't know how you guys feel about that. I know most OG fans love old Crew Stadium, but every time I was there, it rained and the bathrooms were flooding. So screw that stadium to hell. But I like what they've done, and I really respect especially the whole, keep the crew and, save the crew and all that. Watching that go down here in Ohio was pretty damn amazing.
Yeah. All right. Tyler.
My yellow card is Tommy's predictions.
You hate honesty.
That's just how it goes. My runner up would be mosquitoes, man. Mosquitoes. That's just where I'm at right now. The weather's changing here. I don't like them, but they're not as bad as ticks.
Oh yeah, they're ticks are terrible.
Oh, I hate them. That was not my red card though. My red card. So this is weird, man. I hate a word. I hate the word bespoke. That word what has been haunting me for months.
What word?
Bespoke.
BESPOKE.
Yeah. Look, bespoke. All right, look, it's so freaking.
You tell me what sentence somebody used that in with you.
Oh, I can provide you multiple. Because it's everybody. They got to be a hipster and use the word bespoke. You know what bespoke?
They got to be a hipster.
You do it's crazy.
Yeah, you really do, honestly.
So it's made for a particular customer or user. Why can't you just say it's custom? Why do we have to use this halfway made up British word that nobody likes, but it makes you sound fancy? I hate the word bespoke. Hate it.
Is it more than one person that has said that to you, or just the same dude?
No, it's I literally had a conversation with my wife, and it showed up like 10 seconds later on a commercial on TV. I went and started writing an article. I was on doing my thing, and it pops up on like an advertisement. I'm like, they know. They're after me with this stupid word. I hate the word bespoke. Hate it. My rant's over.
Can I join your guys' podcast, please?
No, I already said that. You can't take my line.
I don't look good in yellow. I promise you. But
we got an all black kit.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
And we got an all white.
Just get some peanut butter and you're good. That's all you need, Tommy. It's just some peanut butter and you're good.
I got to look this up a little bit more and figure out how to put this in 13 sentences on our podcast in 20 minutes. I'm going to make this a game. It's like in Super Troopers when they try to say meow.
Yeah.
I'm going to say bespoke.
I'm bringing a jar of peanut butter to our podcast.
I can't wait to see this.
That's
Tyler.
Starting a civil war here.
Oh my gosh. Are you guys going live or are you guys recording it?
Live.
We go live.
Oh, please bring a jar of peanut butter. Please bring peanut butter. Tyler, Tommy, thank you guys so much for joining us. It's been a pleasure. Looking forward to the game on Saturday. Looking forward to the away matchup at Mercedes-Benz later on in the season. You guys have a wonderful night. Enjoy the podcast. I'll pop in, say hi, and thank you guys for joining in.
Appreciate it.
This has been the Wisemen podcast.
Don't fall. Don't fall, Aiden. Aiden, practice your balance skills. Practice. Don't fall down. Aiden, I promise you.
I'm telling you right now.
A cry.
When the Nordecke sees this episode, how many things you gonna see on yours? All the comments.
Come find me. I'll be in the away supporter section, hanging out there. Come hang out. Just don't bring the peanut butter. Bring me a beer. Don't hide peanut butter in it. I'm down, but Aiden, please just stay up. Stay up. Hey, You're better than that.
Hey, look, y'all's TV's about to have Charlie Brown on it now.
Lucy.
Yeah. This has been the Wiseman Said podcast powered by Yama Media. Ty Fisher alongside Jerald Lucas, Tyler Pilgrim, and Tommy. Thank you guys for tuning in and have a wonderful weekend.